gonna talk about probably, this is my favorite Christmas ever. I just got good memories of it. Now, in subsequent years, like watching my daughter open gifts is better than anything I ever did, but this particular Christmas was my favorite. And I've kind of mentioned it and talked about it, but decided it deserves its own video. Because Christmas when I was 7, so I guess I was in the 2nd grade, I just remember, I don't remember what I asked for, because my mom was, as I've told you before, big on social engineering. So she was always like, you want some surprises too, which was code for, I bought you some shit I thought you might like, and that's what you're getting. Because, I'll say this, I talked to another buddy that said the same thing. Like, it's just like overload how much stuff kids get. And I got a lot too. Like, I got more than I deserved. I had it great at Christmas time. But to get the stuff at Christmas time, my sister's always like, yeah, we didn't get nothing from September to December. If we asked for something, it was like, nope, you ain't getting nothing. Wait till Christmas. And that was fair enough, because the anticipation built up. And we always went to my grandmother's house Christmas Eve. I've mentioned that. And I don't remember what I got that year. Probably present-wise, I do remember getting $100, and that is still, even now, I got like $100 in my wallet. That is still the most money I have ever seen, just compared between the two. Like, for a 7-year-old, $100 is like 10,000 to an adult, or maybe even 1,000, somewhere in between. But it was more money than I'd ever seen and ever knew what to do with. I think to that point, the most money I'd ever had was maybe $20. And I mentioned before, I think my parents wanted to pull you need to put that in your bank account. But they didn't, thankfully, because I would have been mad. So my sister got $100 too, and I think my mom and dad both got $200 because my great-grandfather had saved up all his Social Security checks through the years and had a lot of money because he was really cheap. But anyway, I got that, and then the next day, we got our Christmas presents. And I wanted a Steve Young jersey, got that. They got me a football. That was cool. They got me... The Game Gear was the big one. I got that, and I thought that was the coolest thing ever. But what I didn't know at the time was that Game Gear just stopped making games in December. But I had Super Columns the Game and NFL Quarterback Club 1996. Because back then, there were multiple, football games. There was, for every quarterback that was worth a damn, for every anything, there was Madden, there was Quarterback Club, NFL Blitz, NFL Extreme. There was just so many out there. And then Madden said, nope, hell with this, we're getting exclusive license. So that put an end to that. So it's kind of different back then. And that Steve Young jersey, I was like, yes. I kind of regret it because I don't know what I did with that, because I should still have it, but I couldn't say where it is. So go figure. And then the regulation football was fun too, but I've got small hands. I'm big, but I've got small hands, so I couldn't even grip the football. And my uncle would make fun of me. You can't throw it 10 yards. I'm 7. What am I supposed to do? But we did that, and then that day we had to do what we always had to do, which was leave all your toys you've been having fun with. We're going to go to your grandmother's house and open your efficient gifts. I say that because only a few times did we get efficient stuff. It was just annoying to a kid. Because I got to take my Game Gear with me. I wore my Steve Young jersey, and it was so damn warm. I think I wore shorts too. Because, today and yesterday, it was below freezing. So I've had a mix of both. I've had Christmases where it was so warm you could wear shorts and so cold that you didn't want to go outside. But that day it was nice and warm. We threw the football around. Me and my cousin played with the Game Gear. And I remember he got some CDs for Christmas, so we listened to some of his CDs. That was fun. So all in all, like, I liked that Christmas because it was just entertaining, and I had more money than I knew what to do with. And that's a great feeling for a 7-year-old kid. And I sincerely hope my daughter has that feeling at Christmas one day. Because my mom was very much against getting money for Christmas. She thought it was tacky, which she thought a lot of stuff was tacky, but she was a little bit old-fashioned. Because, for instance, she insisted that King of the Hill and Simpsons was vulgar, even though she never watched it and didn't know anything about it. She's like, it's vulgar, I don't like you watching it. But it really wasn't. It was just, her sensitivities were more anchored towards the Waltons than to the Simpsons, so there was that. But, so, whenever I'd suggest, hey, why don't you just get me cash? No, that's tacky. You have to have something to open. So that's how she treated it. It was that kind of deal. But my grandmother giving me money then, it kind of set a precedent because we started to expect it through the years, and came to a point where that was all she got us. That's all we wanted. What kid doesn't want $100? I know I always want that kind of money, so go figure with that. I'm trying to figure out what else we did that Christmas Day, because it was nice and warm out. We played football, went to a great uncle's house and ate. Generally, it was just fun. It was one of the Christmases where I actually kind of liked going to my grandmother's house. I wasn't mad, because I got to bring my Game Gear so I could play with that in the car. And that was when I learned what a battery eater the Game Gear was. Game Gear took, I think it was four AA batteries on each side that lasted 4 hours. If you want to know why they quit making games for it, that is precisely why. Because there was no, like, you had to buy batteries. That's what most of my allowance went to. But I love that thing, because I was always finding games for it, buying games for it. And that was before magazines existed where I could read reviews. I would just be like, oh, that game looks cool, let me buy it. Because eventually I had more games and I knew what to play. But that's a good problem to have as a kid. And look at that $100 I spent it on is what my uncle would call it junk. But I mean, what do you expect a kid to do with it? Because if you save it up, I don't know what you're saving it for, because back then I had relatives that if they sent you cash, they sent you $2 to $5 for your birthday. So you were looking at $20 total in birthday money, and that's just not enough money to mess with. And so I think I bought a bunch of games with it. Although it really burned a hole in my pocket, because I would see stuff in stores that I had no business buying. There was like a convection oven I saw for sale, and I was like, oh, well, I can afford it. I should buy it. Because back then I ate a lot of Bagel Bites, and I thought that would be cool to make my Bagel Bites in. So I was kind of stupid in that regard. And then me and my sister were kind of really into lava lamps, so we saw one in the store, and then I think it was like $50, and we could have afforded it. We were like, that's a little more than we wanted to pay, so we said no. And I don't know what else I did with it. I don't think I saved any of it, but that Christmas was just great. It just good weather. I wasn't unhappy to deal with the stupid stuff I hated to have to deal with as a kid. All in all, just a good Christmas.